Okay, here we are. This is Warworld Battle Circuit. It's top 8 time in Season 1, Tournament 8, and it's Corybear. We've got Corybear's McCready in a best of 3. Now, before we begin, one thing that I kind of have been saying through these series is that I've been getting some fairly lucky, fortunate trade rows, and part of that is true that there's been some fortune, but the other part of it is that whilst everyone rushed to Yoakum and McCready for this one, and to an extent Lee, because I think Connor kind of tried to make it as Lee friendly a format as he could find. The introduction of P into a format with such few expansions actually does play a little bit into Nandi's hands, in the sense that P has a much higher saturation of bombs for the amount of cards in the set. You've got Colossus Rhodey, and then you've got the other 7-8 cost bombs, which does kind of lean more towards being favourable to Nandi, because then the frequency with which you're going to see them on top of the R bombs is going to be slightly higher. So on top of my childish delight in being mean to people if they lose people losing to Nandi, it always feels bad, but I actually think it's not a terrible format for her. So anyway, that's enough fluff. Let's get on with game 1 of a best of 3 with Corybear. So we've got the row here, and we've just got the 2 to start, 2 trades. So we're actually going to pop a 4 and take an outpost here. Soak, always incredibly important against McCready. And that's really, we drop the Alliance Transport in there, which he's not terribly sad to see. He's going to take that because it's great for him. Then he's going to smash. And notably here, he doesn't have his trade cards in his first hand. McCready can get a hand that's big on trade, and that's certainly, he's got the ability to get a Fred next turn. So you have to be alive to that. So we're going to pop our Gambit, because if Corybear gets Fred here, the game it's not over, but it's really hard to come back from, because if you're going to try and beat McCready, you need to survive. And the only way we survive right now, looking at this row, is getting Fred, which we absolutely must do. So not only do we get Fred, we top him to try and push that as soon as possible. Unfortunately, it does flip a Stellar Ray, one of the promos from promos 2, and I mean, that's a really good card for McCready, because it represents a draw, which is great. It boosts his economy, and he can scrap it at will for the 6 damage. So he gets that. He cycles, missing his trade out, but he's got the Stellar Ray, so it's kind of not too bad. Flips into the next deck. He's going to try and maximize his chances of seeing the Hive Queen. Pretty sure, and I'm sure Cory can tell me if I'm out to lunch on any of my commentary, but pretty sure he's lining up to try and get Hive Queen out from under my nose. And if not, then certainly Pulverizer. But we're going to draw. We're going to draw into trade, and we are going to get to top Hive Queen. We're going shopping. I often joke that Nandi is a personal shopper as her alter ego. One of her dangers is filling up with cheap crap on sale, and one of her benefits is being able to go out and get the Gucci. So we're going to slap Hive Queen on top and get some damage. Cory does in fact have the sort of hand that he could have had a Hive Queen from under our nose. He takes the red base, and I know Cory, I remember him saying that he didn't especially want this, but he didn't want me to have it either. Again, being able to cycle and scrap would be great, but he picks up a Crusher too. So he's slowing our attack down, and Crusher is a great card for him. Certainly better than Pulverizer in his deck, because Crush is a guaranteed 6 and Pulverizer can be iffy, especially in again with promos. Yes, you do have the frequency of those bomb cards, but you've got a lot of cheap cost cards that are going to clog the row potentially. So we're just going to go straight in there. We're going to pick up Pulverizer. It gets us an ally with the Hive, potentially with the Hive Queen. And again, we don't really want McCready drawing more cards. It's not going to be good for us. So we don't want, as good as it's been to us in the past, we don't want the bot there, the recycle bot. We want to be using our bases and using our authority to try and outlast McCready here and not scrapping down, because we don't have the time to scrap down. It might work against Newberg, but it's not going to work against McCready unless you've got some sort of magical base wall that you can pop up and throw down. So he's going to take the Temple Guardian. He doesn't want us to be able to dock, and a pretty modest turn in terms of damage because he's got his trade cards out. He does flip up the mobile market, and we are in a position where we can grab that with our trade bump. Quite useful to be able to top and draw cards with mobile market, and if you don't, then it's got a 4-but. So we're clogging up with scrap cards on the row, which neither of us terribly want, but Destroy Bot's pretty good for Corey, because it does represent, again, 5 damage, and McCready is looking to just beat face as fast as possible. Gets through our outpost and hammers us. You could go fishing here to try and bring something juicy out to then pulverize. The trouble with that is that you're then making your next deck worse, certainly with these cards in the row. So we're going to take our authority, we're going to scrap out with Pulverizer that. It does reveal Probe, the Blob Bot. We've got literally another red row, all red. Don't want McCready having Blob Bot. It's real bad. And we've bottomed Hive Queen, but that's okay. It means that we're missing these starters out of our next deck. So that's okay. The other way of approaching it could have been to what we could have done there is we could have popped Recycle Bot on the top, drawn it, then cycled with our starter to then flip the deck, having scrapped one. But instead we didn't. We just chose to just try and speed through our deck as fast as possible. We put the Recycle Bot in the bin. The Builder Bot. I think that might have been a mistake, if I'm being honest, but we do make them from time to time. Sakari's picked up his blue base, taken some authority, drawing cards, allying it with the Alliance Transport, and he's focused on absolutely hitting our face as hard as possible. It's down to 7, and we already know we're going to be getting rid of our starter that doesn't do any damage. This is the turn, and we can see Corey's hand, but this is the turn that we have to release Fred. We were trying to fish just to see if we could get something going. We do take the Merc Garrison there. It is a gamble. It does produce, with yellow, which we do have in the deck, it does produce some damage. So that's kind of where we're thinking on that. We can get back up to 24 by letting Fred go. Corey's at 21. It's tight margins, but we're going to have a couple of draws here to see if we can get something going. It might be the last turn we get. Corey is going to come in with a lot of damage. He's going to scrap out his Stellar Ray, drop us to 13. He's at 21. It's starting to look a little ugly. We're going to buy the farm ship, and that's really just to see if we can get some velocity into the next deck. We're going to draw Now it is 2 less soak doing that, but it's also, we need to be seeing damage to try and end this as quickly as possible. So we're looking for the Hive Queen obviously there, but we'll take whatever we can get. We do take all of the authority we can possibly get. We're trying to fish for things to destroy, and we can only come up with the full cost by taking probe. We draw the Ranger, which is a little sad, and Cory's down at 8. We're at 22. McCready can have some big turns though, and we've got all of our starters in our next hand. So this is looking bad. Destroy bot, Crusher, all the usuals, and Cory just gets rid of the starters. It's 8-5. Now, if I had been thinking properly, I would have popped the rocket on top and then drawn it with the farm ship. But I'd forgotten in my head that Merc Garrison was going to give us some damage with the farm ship. So I'm sitting here thinking, I need 4 damage. I can't get 4 damage. I'm just going to have to fish with farm ship. And in actual fact, we could have bought the rocket and guaranteed that damage. As it happens, we get really lucky, and we get the 8 damage on the nose, and we take game 1 by a hair. I think I probably would have changed a few things in hindsight. I probably would have bought that builder bot to top and scrapped it out, which, considering I've been doing it kind of all day as well, I think I should pride myself that I didn't do that. But otherwise, I'm not sure there's a huge amount that I would have changed about that game. And definitely, we saw a Fred on the row at the start, which was good for us. We popped a Hive Queen afterwards, which was really good for us. Cory picked up some pretty solid kind of mid-cost cards in Crusher and Stellar Ray, and I think we were quite fortunate, but it was close, and we did what we had to do to try and soak as much so that we could get McCready dead. Important to win the first one, because going into the next 2 games being 1 down against McCready as Nandi would not have felt good. And psychologically, I think that would have been quite hard. So really pleased to pick up the first game here. Yeah, it was a good game. It was a close one, and we're gonna see this set being close in the next one too. So on to game 2.